Hey guys, welcome to Titanium Tuesdays on Propelio TV. I'm your host, RJ Bates. Today I'm sitting down with the Donovan Ruffin. How you doing, buddy?
I'm good, man. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good.
Hello, world.
Yeah, so today we're gonna chit-chat about marketing strategies, doing deals in multiple markets. You're in what, DFW, San Antonio, and South Florida?
Yeah, 3 markets right now.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Also, we want to keep this interactive. We want to answer all of y'all's questions that y'all have for Donovan or for myself today. So the more questions, the better. Love to get everybody interacted and help us out with today's episode. So let's jump into, you are kind of semi-famous for
No.
for Bandit signs.
Oh, for Bandit signs, yeah.
Yeah.
I consider myself the Bandit sign king.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So how many Bandit signs are y'all dropping on like a weekly basis right now?
I would say probably about 500 minimum. That's kind of like the minimum standards. Sometimes my guys like to make some extra bucks, so they'll put maybe 1,000 out. But we have a minimum standard of at least 2,000 a month.
So how is that working? Are you, obviously you have guys going out and doing that.
Yeah.
Walk us through the process for everybody that's watching and they want to learn how to do Bandit signs.
Yeah.
What does your system look like on how y'all do that?
Well, I've kind of built out a little team that's been with me for a couple years, and I mean they want to make some extra money on the weekends, and essentially I order the signs directly from the facility. It goes directly to their house, so I probably never even see the signs. And then on Fridays they're teamed up with the Simple Crew app, and then they just go out and lay them out. And
Are these pre-printed or do they
they're
handwrite?
pre-printed, yeah.
They're
They're
pre-printed?
Yeah.
Have you split tested like between the pre-printed and writing on them? Or did you
I
always
have.
just go pre-printed?
I have. It's just, it takes time, you know, and we see it's like we might get less calls, but we can do more by just spending a couple extra bucks and just getting them printed, so it saves time.
Gotcha.
Because, I mean, you get to a point in business where time is more important than actual couple bucks, you know what I
Right.
mean?
So Tang Win says he's jelly of all that beard action.
The beard action.
Which, I mean, I'm just going to be honest
Look at
with
that,
you.
it's-
I mean, we are jealous of your hair, okay? Because combined between the two of us, we have like a 1/4 inch of hair on the top of our head. So, anyways, love you guys for tuning in. We got Jeremiah, we got Jamie, all kinds of people. Yale joining in. So, please drop all those questions on the comments there on the Facebook Live feed. We definitely want to get everybody interactive today, answer some questions. Donovan's taking time out of his day to be here, so we definitely want to get as much out of him as we can.
Yeah.
Ryan asks, where are y'all investing? So mainly in DFW, right?
Well, yeah, we do deals in DFW, Fort Worth, obviously, and then we do San Antonio and South Florida, Fort Lauderdale, and Miami.
And are you wholesaling, flipping? What are you doing in each of those markets?
Both. In Dallas, only in Dallas we're doing rehabs, and then everywhere else is just wholesaling.
So when you get a lead that comes in, I get this question all the time from people ask me, if you wholesale and you rehab, how are you making a determination of how many deals are you going to rehab? Is this a better one to wholesale or to keep, to flip? How are you making those determinations?
Yeah, I mean, well, we stick to a basic criteria, and our rehabs, it probably, I mean, you could essentially like wholesale them where they really don't need a lot of work,
Right.
maybe just paint carpet. So turnkey rehabs, that's kind of like our criteria. So if it's doesn't need anything really, like foundation, if the big 3 are good, then we consider it for a rehab. That's kind of the way we look at it.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And how are you handling the rehabs on those? Do you have internal crews? Or are you hiring out to general contractors?
Yeah.
What are you doing there?
So I have internal crews. My brother and I teamed up, and he handles the subs. And honestly, we've been working with the same subs for years. So it's
Right.
It's pretty simple once you get a good team established and kind of treat them good, and they kind of stay loyal to you just like you stay loyal to them. And
So my good buddy Luis has a question for you. He says, how did you start your team, and what can we do to grow in the same footsteps as you?
Well, I think with the perspective of how you can add value to somebody and they can add value to you, essentially you bring each other value, and you kind of look at it from a standpoint of where you need help, so you can duplicate yourself. Because it gets to a point, it's just like, if you want to grow in business, you have to have more free time to learn different avenues or to dedicate more time to, which means you need somebody else to work what you're working right now, you know?
Right.
So like, I mean, even for you or anybody, what are you doing every day that costs time?
Yep.
And you kind of look at it, how can I replace myself? And put somebody else in the seat so I can go into a different seat. And
Yep.
then you continue to do that, and that's kind of how that's the way a team should be structured, but. Yeah.
So Bandit Signs is a huge part of your business.
Mm-hmm.
You have the guys, you're shipping directly to them, they get the signs.
Yep.
They have an app that they're using that proves that they're placing the Bandit sign to you.
Yep.
How are they determining where they're placing the Bandit signs though?
Well, we do like 10 per zip code. We typically like to stay outside of main intersections. It's pretty standard procedure with Bandit signs. And everybody always is like, it's like Bandit signs is not the way to go, Bandit signs is the way to go. We do a lot of volume with Bandit signs, and we're also very consistent with it, and that's mixed with the biggest difference. There's some weeks we don't get any calls, some weeks we get a lot of calls. We just have to stay consistent with it.
So are you using CallRail to track the phone numbers? Or
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah.
you use CallRail. Are you tracking each individual person's signs with a different CallRail number? Or
No.
is it just
It's just the whole
campaign?
Yeah, the whole campaign.
Right.
Because my guys aren't compensated by their signs; they're compensated per sign in the ground, so it doesn't make a difference.
And who's doing the lead intake on those calls?
It goes to one of my acquisitions.
So specifically the acquisitions person. And when those calls come in, are they setting appointments or are they trying to make offers right there on the phone?
We make it over the phone. Yep.
So why did you make that decision? 'Cause I think that's a heated conversation between.
Yeah. Well, because we essentially do all forms of marketing, so we get a lot of inbound leads, essentially, and we just physically don't have the time to be driving in traffic to go look at houses and make offers. I guess having experience doing rehabs, you can kind of get a general idea of how much the construction cost is going to cost.
Right.
So we're able to effectively make offers over the phone and essentially get the DocuSign sent and the contract signed straight from the office.
Right. I think a lot of times, you can make that determination just based off the age of the house.
Yep.
Knowing the neighborhood.
Yep.
Asking a couple of key points.
Yep.
If you're asking when was the last time the floors were replaced,
Yep.
have you ever remodeled the kitchen or bathroom, suddenly you started getting a pretty good idea of a price per square foot of what the rehab should be.
Yeah, for sure. We have a basic criteria of certain questions, and then we essentially ask them how much they think it would cost to fix. And if they get into an argument where it's like, yeah, it's only going to cost X amount, it's like, okay, we believe you, and then we're still going to do an inspection.
Right.
And it's like, hey, you told us it was going to be 15, and like clearly that's impossible, so
Right.
we need it cheaper. So
we got a question here. Do you see a saturation in the market with Bandit signs in terms of competition?
I don't believe in saturation just because there's millions of people in Dallas, so there's deals for everybody.
Do y'all avoid like the corners where there's already like 4 or 5 Bandit signs already there?
I tell my guys to just place it right next to the other person's sign because think about it. If somebody's going to take a picture of that sign or call that one sign, they're going to call all of them.
Right.
And then it gets down to the point where who's the better closer.
Right. It's about execution at that point.
Exactly.
In time.
So
Right.
It doesn't make a difference.
If you've ever just driven the streets and taken pictures of Bandit signs and called,
Yep.
9 times out of 10,
Yeah.
they don't even answer the phone.
Or they don't know what to do. Like,
Right.
I
And a lot of times, yeah,
the way it is.
They want to
Yeah.
know, sometimes there are Bandit signs where they're trying to get cash buyers compared to
Yeah.
actually handing a motivated seller, and it's
Yeah.
crazy. So,
Yeah, for sure.
Jeremiah asked, do you use Simple Crew for Bandit signs?
Yes, I do. Yes.
For the people that don't know what Simple Crew is, explain what that is.
It's basically an app where it essentially tracks where the sign is directly placed on a map and the time when it was placed. So it kind of keeps your team accountable, so they're not just throwing it away and collecting a paycheck, and make sure that it's physically in place with a picture on a map of where the sign was placed with the time. So
For the people that are wanting to build out some kind of system for this, do you mind sharing how you compensate those people for placing Bandit signs?
I pay anywhere from $1 or $2, kind of depends on what somebody agrees to put them out, because you never know. It's just asking. It's like, hey, how much would you do this for?
Right.
Some people, it's like, I can do it for 50 cents a sign, great. But essentially, we pay like $2 a sign max, and I think that's pretty fair.
Gotcha.
So, yeah.
Dante asked, what is the cost of your marketing? So it sounds like
yeah.
you do a lot of forms of marketing, not just on Bandit signs.
Last month we did about 140,000 in marketing.
And that's across the 3 markets?
Yeah, yeah.
So are you also doing Bandit signs and things along those lines in San Antonio and South Florida?
No.
What are you doing in those markets?
We do PPC, cold call, and mailers.
So let's talk about cold calling, because I see that being as, a lot of people are moving towards that direction to avoid the high cost of direct mail.
Yeah, for sure.
How are you building that out? Are you outsourcing the calls to VAs, or do you have an internal team doing that?
Well, I have both. I try to leverage it just because it's with our in-house callers. We have like 3 in-house callers, and it's more of quality. So the turnover is a lot more efficient. But we do outsource about 25 agents to VAs. And we kind of play the volume game in all sorts of marketing because it's the cheapest way to do it, but we don't look at it based off of the cheapest way. We just look at it as a form to bring leads into the door. So we don't be cheap with it. We go all out with all forms, so there is no competition essentially.
Right. And have you done do you run the numbers where you see the difference in like a cost per deal on Bandit signs compared to cold calling?
Yeah, cost per deal with Bandit signs is probably double than what it is for cold calling.
And so what is the reasoning behind you continuing to do a high volume of Bandit signs compared to dumping that back into cold calling and doubling down on that effort?
Well, it's leveraging different angles of marketing.
Right.
We might get more deals or more dollars per deal with Bandit signs, but we still get deals without me physically doing anything. So why not continue it and grow it?
Right. It's also a part of cold calling might not work for a lead that you get off of the Bandit sign. Yeah,
Bandit sign leads are like home run leads every time.
Right.
So if somebody's calling a Bandit sign lead, they want to sell.
Right. And on the San Antonio cold calling and the South Florida cold calling, are you pulling the same list for those, or are you stacking the list that you're pulling for the cold calling differently in those markets?
Yeah, I mean, we do a lot of data research before we go into a market and kind of find where the most cash transactions are happening, because that's where people are buying, and then we just buy the whole county.
Gotcha.
So it's not like we buy like a couple thousand, we buy a couple 100,000 at a time.
Because you and I were talking about this before we got jumped on here, that each market kind of has its own little personality.
Exactly, yeah.
So you're experiencing in South Florida something completely different than what you're experiencing here in Texas.
Like literally in South Florida, we're reverse psychologing it. Like throwing dispositions on triple dialers, finding buyers.
Right.
Just because we're getting deals by the hour in South Florida, because it's a buyer's market there. I mean, that's what we see. Obviously, we're new to that market, so maybe it's not. We're just really aggressive compared to what everybody else is doing.
So you're actually struggling getting rid of the deals.
Yeah.
Because there's too much inventory.
Yeah.
Which is crazy compared to what we're experiencing here in Texas.
Yeah.
But that might be something that we experience here in Texas here in the next couple of years.
Yeah,
so this is a good experience for you.
Yeah, and I'm fortunate to be able to learn that. It's like, well, what's the worst that's going to happen? I just have to reverse psychology, and instead of focus on acquisitions, we focus on dispositions, and then when the market does shift, I already know how to do that in our main markets like Dallas.
All right, guys.
So.
For everybody that's tuning in, love for you guys to jump in and ask some questions here. Obviously, Donovan is doing a ton of Bandit signs, cold calling, even PPC. So definitely drop any questions that you have about these different forms of marketing and/or just rehabbing properties or wholesaling. Dante asks, what do you say to Bandit sign pirates that harass y'all?
I mean, we kind of like to have fun on the phone. Like if somebody's calling us to prank call or talk shit, then we just do the same back. So just have fun with it. It's.
I think that's not even just Bandit signs though. That's like every form of marketing.
Yeah, it's like if somebody's calling you to talk shit and they're taking time out of your day, we just talk shit back. I mean, go ahead.
I think one of my favorite experiences with this was we did a direct mail campaign.
Yeah.
Overload of calls. I got a phone call, and I'm so glad this phone call came to me. Was on the phone with the guy for a good 10 or 12 minutes.
Yeah.
And he's walking me down, property's older, slightly distressed, could do some remodeling. I'm motivated to sell if the price is right. I mean, we're walking down the path, and the whole time I'm not at my computer yet, so I'm just asking the questions. Finally, I get to my computer. I'm like, all right, sir, what's your address? He gives me the address. I pull it up. and just on Zillow, like this estimate for it was like 9.8 million.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I mean, this is like a mansion. He was just completely, yeah, I mean, he was just messing with me the whole time. I mean, he was just like, yeah, and you get that. I mean, no matter what form of marketing you do.
Yeah, they're gonna come.
Right. Jessica asks, when cold calling, what is the best thing to say when leaving a voicemail?
We actually don't leave voicemails when we cold call because it kind of blows our cover with the pitch. So we don't leave voicemails.
So you roll it back into the list, and eventually you just keep calling them until you get a hold of them?
Yeah. We do RVMs. It's a little bit different, but with cold calling, we don't leave voicemails.
So you do ringless voicemails. Are you also doing text blasting?
No, not yet.
So you do the ringless voicemails. What kind of voicemail are you leaving on those?
Yeah, so we have a woman on the phone, and people feel more comfortable talking to women. So it's like, hey, my friend said that you might be interested in selling one of your properties. I mean, we buy properties for cash. We can close pretty quickly. If you have an interest of selling one of your properties, just give us a call back. Pretty simple.
Cool.
And then run it through the system and then see what happens.
Are you seeing, when you drop those, are you seeing just a massive influx of calls back?
Well, we have it kind of filtered through our call rail, so it's like, hey, if you want to be deleted from the list, press 2. If you want to get forwarded to one of our home advisors, press 1. So it kind of filters it out a little bit, and then our VAs answer it, and then they filter it again, and then they just send the good leads over to our Propelio. So.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Matt Smith asks, what do you think is the best way to get cash buyers?
Cash buyers, I mean, in Dallas, obviously Facebook and Craigslist works really good. Cash buyers in other markets, Craigslist, Facebook.
Do you do bandit signs
that.
to get cash buyers as well?
No, we should actually. I haven't thought of that. No, but sometimes we do get cash buyers that call the signs, but they don't pay top dollar like.
Another thing to do is have your dispositions people drop a couple of bandit signs around the properties that you have under contract. They're going to be going out there anyways to show the property and actually do their dispositions duties.
I like that.
And then at that point in time, once the property's sold, you can pick those up so you're not just leaving them. But what you will do in the meantime while you're trying to get rid of the property is accumulate some phone calls. You might even sell the property to somebody who sees your bandit sign.
Yeah.
So that's a unique way to do it as well.
Yeah.
So going back to the cold calling, you said in South Florida you're actually having a cold call to try to build a cash buyers list there.
Yeah.
How are you targeting people that have actually bought properties for cash and that's who you're calling, or how are you doing that to find those cash buyers?
So we target agents on MLS that actually listed flips in the past. So we'll go out miles in radius around our deals, and then our VAs kind of find their phone numbers on the MLS. And then we essentially put them in the triple dialer and cold call them. So that's kind of how we do it.
So we got a question here. What tactics do you use to get the best price drops with sellers off of their asking price?
I would go back to the construction side of it. There's obviously a ton of ways where you can negotiate even more just based off of the inspection period. Through our pitch, we have about 4 or 5 price drops through the entire or since when we first get the lead to when we're selling the deal. So we price drop a few times, and we kind of prepare the seller for that, especially since we're not seeing it physically before we put in our contract. So it allows us to go in and do another price drop multiple times with the inspection period happening. Yeah.
Another thing about that is just being transparent with the numbers as well. I mean, if you just explain to them like, hey, this is what we're seeing, can't sell the property with this flooring or this bathroom or this countertop in the kitchen. This is what it costs. This is proof. This is like my experience of these types of properties. From what I've seen, the sellers actually respect that.
Yeah, for sure. And especially if they trust you, and that comes with building the relationship with them. And they trust you, and then you tell them it's like, hey, the foundation's messed up. We're going to have to come in and put X amount of piers in. We're going to have to fix the plumbing under the house. We might have to replace the whole plumbing system. Whatever essentially we kind of take what our buyers tell us when they go walk through the property and just bring it back to the seller.
Absolutely.
So your buyers will actually tell you how to price drop.
Right.
It's the easiest way to do it.
So Brian Rockwell asks, are you enjoying wholesaling more than rehabbing?
Yeah, I do. I mean, it's obviously a lot easier. I still find a lot of joy out of, taking something and making it better for sure. So, I mean, there's perks to both sides, but I enjoy wholesaling a little bit better just because obviously there's no risk and you get paid a lot faster. So.
Right.
A lot less work too. So.
I think it also just, if it depends on your personality as like the business owner and entrepreneur.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I know some people that despise wholesaling.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, it's not something that they want to be involved in. There's a small amount of control when you're wholesaling.
Yeah.
Like you're always in the motivated seller's hands and you're always in the cash buyer's hands. You can't really make anything happen there. And so for some people, it just depends on what's best for you.
Exactly. You know? Yeah. I mean, I find perks behind both of them, but I think doing both of them is super effective when you go back to the wholesaling side, because you're actually buying the house physically too, and that's the way we look at it when we pick up contracts. So we can understand it from the buyer's approach because we are the buyer as well. So
we got a subtle plug for Propelio.
Oh,
it sounds like you're investing in all areas that Propelio services are in.
No, that's true.
It's true. Is Propelio something that you utilize in your business or have used in the past?
Yeah. So we have about 8 acquisition guys through the company, and they all use Propelio.
And so are you using that for list and the MLS comps?
Just MLS, yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So you build your own list outside of that, and then when they're on the phone, so let's walk through that. So you're making offers right there on the phone.
Over the phone, yeah.
So the call comes in, you're getting information about the property.
Yep.
Are they on Propelio pulling a CMA right there on the phone?
They're copy and pasting it into Propelio, and then we comp it out, and then we're making offers over the phone. But I mean, we have MLS access in the markets that we're in, but Propelio just is obviously a lot easier.
It is.
Yeah, it does the math for you. So, I mean, we just type the ARV back into our Podio system, and it generates what we can offer them. So
Mario asked, do you target private money in the specific area that you're buying?
Private money in the sense of like, I mean, do we need funds?
I'm assuming like if you wanted to buy a property in San Antonio, are you targeting private money lenders in San Antonio?
No, not necessarily. Well, I guess I've kind of raised private capital through the past couple of years, so we don't really have an issue with private money, and they can kind of invest anywhere.
It doesn't matter where the deal is, they're fine
if
with
it's
it.
A deal, yeah,
right.
They trust me, so yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the deal with private money is yes, sometimes people they care about where the deal is.
Yeah.
But if you have a proven track record in the market, they don't really.
Yeah. So like one of our main lenders only likes to lend in Texas, which is understandable. But we have other lenders that'll lend pretty much anywhere. So we have the track record. We have like HUDs to kind of prove profitability, so it makes them feel more comfortable. And we do honestly have experience, so it's not difficult for us to get private money.
So we got a question on here. I know I asked you this at the beginning, but for the people that joined us late, do you still handwrite your Bandit signs?
No, we don't. I don't even see. I mean, I order it from the internet, and I never see the signs. So, I mean, yeah.
And what do your signs specifically say? Do you know?
We buy houses.
That's it.
Yeah. I mean, I put a girl's name underneath, and it makes people feel more comfortable. Obviously, versus like, hey, call me, I'm a shark investor and I'm here to take your house. You know, it's like, hey, I understand.
Do you always change the name?
Yeah, here and there. I mean, once a month we kind of change the girl's name. We might do Alex, we might do Michelle, we might do Maria.
Do they ever want to know like where the hell Michelle is?
Yeah, they'll call. It's like, hey, I need to talk to Michelle. It's like, Michelle's off today. How could I help you? It's pretty simple.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Daniela asks, what are you doing right now to prepare for a market change?
So we are actually buying cheaper and selling cheaper. So with real estate, it's always going to evaluate at a certain number, and there's always going to be somebody in the market to buy. So as the market shifts, we shift with the market. So if we have to buy cheaper, then that's what we're going to do. If we have to sell cheaper, then obviously we have to sell cheaper.
Absolutely. And I think everybody right now is talking about the market shift.
Yeah.
But this is to be expected, right? I mean, for the past couple of years, everybody should have known this was eventually going to come.
Yep.
And yeah, you're absolutely right. We have to now adjust how we're buying.
Yep.
As wholesalers, we have to adjust to that so we continue to be able to sell and move our properties.
Yep.
But this is only going to open up more opportunities for us as investors.
Yeah, and I've been kind of waiting for a market correction to happen for a long time, just because it's just, like, sellers for one are spoiled. They know they can, well, I don't need to sell right now, and when I am, it'll sell overnight.
Right.
And now we're experiencing like, hey, I can't really sell, and it allows us to get it at a better price and get more inventory. So.
Right. I mean, we had Nicole Espinoza on here a couple of weeks ago. She was talking about short sales are going up.
Yeah.
We've had Elizabeth Austin on here, who's a retail agent rock star.
Yeah.
Days on market's going up. I mean,
Yep.
it's definitely happening.
Yep.
And so we're going to see more opportunities come in with the motivated sellers.
For sure. Yeah.
So we're going to jump to a quick break and go to commercial here. Please keep the Q&A coming, and we'll be right back after these messages. All right, guys, thank you for joining us today on Titanium Tuesdays. We've had a bunch of really great questions for Donovan. Donovan is investing and wholesaling and rehabbing in Dallas, Fort Worth, San Antonio, and also in South Florida. He's got tons of knowledge, so please drop your questions that you have for him in the comments. We were just discussing, the change in the market and what that looks like moving forward into 2019. And we're discussing that it's going to open up opportunities for us as wholesalers and investors to get cheaper deals. What are you doing within your team to kind of coach your acquisitions people?
Yeah.
Are they also in charge of dispositions?
So I actually have a disposition team and I have an acquisition team. When it comes to both angles, we've already adjusted where our max acceptable offers can be.
Gotcha.
We drop it. Well, I've been kind of like dropping it a percentage like every week. Because I mean we're getting a lot of inventory right now, which means we have to sell it a little bit cheaper than what buyers are normally used to paying in the past. I mean,
and is that like something that you're having like weekly team meetings?
Yeah,
and you're
every
like
single
openly
week.
discussing that, like, hey, if it was this percent, we got to go down, we got to get it at a 2% cheaper discount or something.
Well, I guess I kind of feel blessed because I came into the market like when it was its hottest, but I was trained to, hey, you have to sell a deal at like 70%, right?
Right.
And I didn't realize that buyers are paying 85% at the time. So I know for a fact that like when it comes to sellers, they're approaching you because they want to get out of a situation, and you're here to give them value because you can help them get out of that situation. But you have to be realistic with them. It's like, I mean, you essentially have to give them a smaller offer with the market correction.
I think one of the things what we're going to see here in the next 12 to 18 months, and what's going to differentiate a lot of companies is going to be your ability to actually solve problems on these. Not just go in and say, here's the offer, you're throwing it out there and you're trying to get a small assignment fee. That has worked over the past couple of years because you were, like you said, people were willing to buy at 85%. So it was easy to go lock something up at 80, 82% because you knew you could go out
and resell.
Well, what's going to have to happen now is you're going to have to actually explain the process, tap into the pain points, find the motivation there, and there's going to be some pretty serious motivation coming up here because people are going to fall into pre-foreclosure, short sale situations, things along those lines. So the acquisitions and the sell side of things is really, that's what's going to differentiate companies, in my opinion. Yeah,
so we're already preparing for that. We coach our team every week on what the market correction looks like. Obviously, we're buying at a certain percentage less, but at the same time, we're preparing to come in and start doing wraps and owner finance as well.
Right. So, and the other thing that you have to think about is also as a wholesaler specifically, you are now going to have to do a better job of locating cash buyers. Because there's going to be fewer and less serious people in this market, because there's going to be a lot of people right now that have been dabbling. They're going to be like, oh, this is scarier than it was 12 months ago. I don't want to be involved anymore. So wholesaling is also going to get a little bit harder. I think everybody right now is thinking like, let's just go full-time wholesaling. Like it's going to be 2015 all over again. And it's not. I mean, it's going to be harder to dispose of properties.
Absolutely.
Nicole Espinoza asked, do you only do Bandit signs or do you do any other type of direct marketing?
So we essentially do like all forms of marketing that you can possibly think of, all the way from PPC, mailers, to cold calling, to RVMs. New ones like text blast, but we don't do text blast yet. Bandit signs. So
we talked about the three of those. We haven't talked about PPC. Is that something you're doing internal, or are you outsourcing that to a company?
Yeah, I outsource that.
And what is the reasoning behind that? Is that just something like that's a distraction, don't want to be involved in it, and you feel more comfortable with someone else?
Yeah, it's like, I mean, for one, it's like I have a lot of things that I'm focused on, and I know if I go in and study that, in which eventually I will,
Right.
it's just I'm not the best at it, and obviously if we're going to dump a lot of money into something, I want to kind of put it with a team that kind of understands how to do it. So I'd rather pay a premium, you know, and kind of pay somebody to do that for me.
Right.
Yeah.
Dante asks, what website do you use for Bandit signs?
Dirtcheapsigns.com.
Is that's the best?
I mean, that's all I've been using. I've seen other sites that you can get it a little cheaper, but I mean, that's what I've been using since I've started, and they've been good to me. So a couple pennies per sign doesn't make a difference for my
Right.
business.
So Jeremiah's got a question here. He says, you talk about reverse engineer the county for what sells the best. How do you do this?
We do a little bit of market research. So like we go in and try to find where the most cash transactions are happening, and we go into those markets and locate. I mean, we're still on like the acquisition side, and then we essentially don't bait and switch people. We just bait and switch people, or we bait and sell people, you know, on
Right.
deals. So I guess people train it a little bit different. They go into a market and have buyers first. We go in with no condom on, and just and we fire and then aim. That's kind of our approach. And yeah, it might be a little bit more expensive, but it's been working for us. So
Ryan, can that be the title of today's episode?
going with no condom on. Yeah, see what happens.
Dante also asks, how do you pay your team? So let's talk
Yeah.
about, you kind of already gone over the Bandit sign. Let's talk about acquisitions and disposition.
Yeah, so acquisitions, we pay them in tiers. They get a small draw of about $2,000 a month, and then they make a percentage, 8% under 50,000 in gross. They make 10% above 50,000 in gross, and then if they do over 100,000 in gross for the month, then they'll get 12%. And then obviously if they find their own deals, then they get 20%. Disposition makes about 3%. So
Gotcha.
I also have transaction coordinator. I have cold callers. Cold callers, I pay them like $12 an hour. I outsource it pretty cheap, but I mean, there's a lot of them. So.
And the dispositions people, all they're doing is dispositions?
Yeah, that's all they do.
And are you helping them build the buyer's list,
Yeah.
or is it just solely their responsibility?
I obviously have to go in and help. We have a lot of inventory right now, so like, hey, if you do buy fix and flips, let me know, you know, because we have a lot of inventory just in Dallas. But yeah, I help give them tools that they need to succeed, and I mean, you know, and bring people in that kind of know what they're doing, and we build off of what's already there, and then obviously with anything we want more, so we're obviously networking, meeting new people, and you know, and networking. So
Right. My partner here, Jamie, just wrote, mindset is so key. People say you can't get good deals because they don't believe they can.
Yeah.
And solving problems is key. Follow-up is key.
yeah, for sure.
I mean, follow-up is massive in this business.
Absolutely, yeah.
What systems do you have in place for follow-up, and whose responsibility is it on the team for follow-up?
Yeah, so I actually forgot. I mean, I have like a lot of divisions. I have a follow-up division. They're called lead managers. They actually make 5% on deals, and their full-time job is just following up with people. They don't get any new untouched or inbound leads. They actually only call leads that we've already talked to. And if it's in our database for more than 3 days and nobody's talked to them, then they have the opportunity to reach out to them and try to make the cold lead a little bit more warm. Then they toss it back to the acquisition guys, which are like the closers, and then obviously they split the difference on the commission. So that's what's
Gotcha.
been working for us.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, it keeps the acquisition guys motivated, and if you don't close it, then you're going to lose 5% because the lead manager will close it. And I mean, how our promotion works in the company, it's like once you close a certain amount of deals and bring in a certain amount of revenue to the company, then you can be an acquisition guy.
Right. So I've seen, you know, on the acquisition side of things, if they have 3 days essentially to follow up.
Yeah.
If they keep doing that and they've done it for 90 days, then the follow-up team cannot touch it, right?
The team is constantly following up, but in our system, if nobody's contacted that person for more than 3 days, it automatically gets reassigned to a lead manager.
And are you using Propelio for that?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's pretty cool.
Can you go over that deal structure for your team? Because that was a huge nugget for team building. And I wanted to cue up our little,
With lead managers and acquisitions?
for your follow-up team.
Yeah, so our follow-up team, they're called lead managers, and we pay them 5% of the deal. So if a lead goes 72 hours and nobody's touched it, then it goes to a lead manager, and their job is to essentially do the follow-up and get that person and essentially get the relationship back on the line, because 80% of what we do is like relationship or relationship building. That's 80% of the reason why people do deals with us. So we're following up with them, continuing that relationship with the notes, and we're reading personalities, and I mean, we're getting to know people, kids' names, where they went to school, where they're from, what they do for a living, all of that. So when a follow-up manager gets the lead, the notes are already there, and it's like, hey, how's like your kids by their specific name? And it's like, holy crap, this person knows me, you know. And then we get them back on the hook and back into the conversation of them selling their house. So
I just realized that we repeated that for a second time, all so we could have a golden nugget picture, little graph on there.
Wow.
This is like the 12th Titanium Tuesday, and that's the first time we've ever had to do that.
yeah.
I'm questioning my ability to get golden nuggets on this episode. Thank you, Ryan, for the golden
nugget.
It
Cool.
was,
I didn't know that.
I
Yeah.
do love it though, because I've talked to people across the country. I've never heard somebody do that before.
Yeah,
I
and
haven't either.
It's always fallen
the
on.
acquisition guys get super pissed.
Yeah.
It's like, holy crap, like it was like a home run lead, and you all of a sudden have to pay a majority of that commission out to a lead manager.
Well,
So
and
you didn't follow up. It's your fault, guys.
And
So-
nowadays, it's so common to automate the follow-up. Like,
Yeah.
okay, we're gonna use Propelio, and then we're gonna automate with text messages and ringless voicemails.
That's
And
great. Yeah, that's awesome.
It is good,
But, I
it's
mean-
nothing more. There's nothing like talking to someone, like you said, and reestablishing that relationship and making the cold lead
Yeah.
a warm lead again.
Well, I think what a lot of people approach real estate is they don't like, you can use data and have marketing. That's great, but if you're not a salesperson or have a sales team, then it's going to be really tough for you to structure your business. This is a sales business. This is a people business.
Right.
We view our office as a sales office. It's sales. And that's just the reality of it.
Yeah.
It's not. I mean, you could do all the marketing in the world. You can do all the data and have computers push emails. But if you can't close a deal, it's going to be hard for you to make a deal. You know, you need to be a salesperson.
Personally, for me, I mean, and this is something that we're currently adapting with our partnership with Jamie, but we had made the decision at Titanium, we got rid of anything that was automated.
Yeah, yeah.
And the reason why is because it took the power of the person
Yep.
away, and now they're relying on the automatic text
Yep.
that was going to the same person the same way at the same time. I mean, there's so much that as individuals you can impact. Like you said, it sells.
Yep.
And selling to me is going to be completely different than selling to someone like Ryan.
Yeah.
I mean, we have two different personalities, and if you're automating everything and it's sent out the exact same
Yeah.
way, you're taking
For
away
sure.
the power of your team. So
Well,
I love what you have set up there.
I mean, automation is great. It's awesome, you know, but that should be your marketing division, your
Right.
systems division, you know. I've met like thousands of people that are just intrigued by real estate, you know, and I used to run a sales company, and when it comes to sales, like, oh, I don't want to be a salesperson. I don't want to be a salesperson. And I'm like, well, that's real estate. That's any
Right.
business, you know. You need, that's a majority of your business.
Well, I
you know,
love
so-
how you keep referring to it as divisions.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, I don't think that is a phrase used commonly enough when you talk about a wholesaling company. Like, you're actually building a business.
Yeah,
and you have
it is a
divisions
business, yeah.
within the business.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, anybody can hustle a wholesale deal. Anybody can go out and, like, if you're a hustler, you can get a deal if you just slap enough shit against the wall. You know, a
Right.
deal will happen. But if you want to structure a business, you have to structure it like a business. You know, and we view wholesaling and real estate as a business, and that's the way we structure it.
Absolutely.
And if we want to grow it, we have to structure it in a way where we can implement certain things quick, and then all of a sudden we can see growth happen.
And so often
yeah.
I tell people, you know, if you're at the point now where you don't feel like this is important in your business,
Yeah.
you're wrong, because what's going to end up happening is you're going to go out there and hustle
Yep.
for 6 months, a year, 2 years, and then you're going to realize, because I didn't take care of these things in the beginning, and I didn't set up these divisions and plans for how I want to
Yep.
set up the business, I've actually left a ton of meat on the bone.
Yep.
I've missed out on deals.
Deals fall through the
Right.
cracks.
So
you know?
set up your business the way you want it to function moving forward in the future.
Yeah.
Don't set up yourself for failure and create bad habits.
Yeah.
We got a question here. This looks very specific to something that I guess you moved. How did you get those new builds at a wholesale price? the ones that were just built this year?
Well, this was an interesting situation.
Do you currently have these for sale, or is this something
we
you
just
already
sold? Actually, we sold it yesterday. Paul actually bought them, but it was one. But yeah, we got it. It was a Bandit sign lead actually. She first called us and she wanted to sell it for like 215, which was like retail. I'm like, we see you have listed. We're not even consider it, you know. And then follow-up manager kicked in, reached out to her and gave her our max acceptable offer, and we keep them low. It's like the lowest number that's on our system, that's what you offer. And our lead managers essentially train our sellers to realize that, hey, nobody else is giving me a higher offer. Then all of a sudden, once we realize, we feel that they're coming down on the price a little bit, gets kicked to acquisition manager, and then we were able to get it at wholesale price.
Cool. So Jessica asks, what are some extra problems you've had to solve for the seller aside from cash needs in order to get the deal?
Yeah, so I mean, think about it. It's a person. It's like literally just like you're a person, that person's a person. So it might not just be cash. They just want to maybe move to a different state, or they want to move somewhere different. They don't want to keep up with they're set financially. They just don't want to go through the stress of fixing their house or whatever the situation they're in. You have to understand that. I mean, think about it. If all of a person thinks about was money, and you talk to them and they're not focused on making money at that specific time, you realize their entire life doesn't revolve around money, you know? So you have to be able to go in and problem solve for that seller. And yeah, there's not one specific model or system because everybody's different. Everybody has different situations. I could think of like 2,000 problems I have, you know?
Right.
You have to go in there and like listen to people, you know, listen to what they're saying in their situation that they're in and help them. It's like, hey, we can help you with moving assistance, we can get professional movers and help with those costs or whatever you got to do to essentially add value to that person to get the deal done, do it.
I mean, so often these motivations might start with a financial reason, but when you really ask questions and dig deeper, what you find out is my good buddies, Jordan Stanley Payne and Todd Fleming, love them, love what they're doing with the kingdom. They always say this, they post it on Facebook, money isn't real. Yeah. And it really isn't when you think about it. It's just something that we trade to get other items. And when you look at, so often with a motivated seller, I can think of specific instances where it was, yes, they needed to sell their house because the initial reason was financially they couldn't afford the house anymore, but the real reason was health reasons, lost job, needed to move, grandkids, something happened with their daughter or their son that they needed to move and be there for them. And so what it really comes down to is the initial reason was financially, but it's because of I need to move to be closer to my daughter or son. And why I'm saying it's financial is because I have this huge burden, this liability with a property. And so you're really not solving that financial burden. You're saying, let me find a way to get you moved to where you can take care of your son or daughter and take this liability off your hands. It's a matter of how you phrase things and ask continued questions. That's why having a division like sales and having good acquisitions people, and even on the disposition side, having good dispositions people that are finding solutions for the cash buyers. I mean, it's across the board. It's just about solving problems. We got our good buddy, Doc Dirt Guy Robinson, watching from the skid steer and finishing a 180 by 300 pad. Hashtag no excuse for education, man. Thank you for tuning in.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, and, it's like, I mean, when I was starting in business, man, I used to listen to podcasts while I'm like at work, so learn.
And I'm going to give a quick shout out to Doc and his dad. So often I have used this platform and other platforms to talk about Beat Kids Cancer, and I thank Propelio and everybody for allowing us to do it. But Doc has a great nonprofit as well that right now is currently, this is their time of the season, and I don't know the name of it, but essentially what it is Santa's Causes. So Doc's dad essentially dresses up as Santa Claus, and they provide meals, food, toys, clothing for families, and it's just a great cause. Doc, if you have time, can you drop a link in there to y'all's website and what y'all's cause is. I just love what you guys do, and y'all have been a huge supporter of us at Beat Kids Cancer. So just want to give that quick shout out to you guys.
That's awesome.
Transitioning from that, let me find a good transition from going from the Santa Claus nonprofit, but getting back to real estate
Let's
investing.
go back to the savage conversation. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Let's get back.
We actually had a meeting about that yesterday as a team. It's like, hey, we're making a ton of money. It's like, let's go off 2018 with a different purpose. Like how can we give back, not just education wise, but how can we give back to people in need? So
yeah,
I think that's important. Yeah, so
it is, man.
We're starting a charity division.
That's cool, man. And I'm proud of you for that, because it's one of the things. Obviously, we did that with Beat Kids Cancer, and that was something close to our hearts.
Yeah,
because of
awesome.
Because of my niece. But I challenge everybody, once you reach a certain level of success, find something to go out there and do it, because, man, I'm telling you what, for every deal that I've ever wholesaled or flipped and big checks or great months or anything like that, nothing compares to being able to give back and get messages and pictures. And yesterday we dropped off a ton of toys and stuff like that at Cook's Children's, and my kids actually did it, and I got sent a picture, and I was having a pretty rough day at that moment, and I got that picture, and it's like, man, there's just nothing better than seeing my little kiddos dropping off kids for the sick kids. So
absolutely.
Anyways, we're gonna take a quick break, jump to commercial. Let's get some more Q&A in there, and we got about 10 or 15 more minutes with Donovan. Thank you, guys. All right, guys, thank you for joining us on Titanium Tuesdays today. Hope you guys have loved today's episode. Donovan has just been dropping a ton of golden nuggets. Actually, he officially dropped the first golden nugget on Titanium Tuesdays.
Really?
I mean,
awesome.
I mean, it was the first. Yeah, it was the first time we've gotten that golden nugget. So, but we got about 10, 15 more minutes with Donovan. Love to get y'all's questions in there. So the more we can get in, the better. The first one we've got here, what are some of the best training / masterminds that helped you scale?
Yeah, so actually you know them. Carlos and Sal in Phoenix, they host an all-in event, like once a quarter or something like that. That's helped a lot. There's a few other like high-paid masterminds that I was a part of, which is like kind of expensive. It's like $30,000 or $40,000 per event. So I mean, you can hit my DMs, and if that's something that you're interested in, I can see if we can get you into that mastermind. Yeah, so real quick, I know quite a few of my buddies that have masterminds. I'm going to drop their names because I don't necessarily know the name of the mastermind itself, but Brad Chandler, Joe Evangelisti, Tim Bratz, Todd Fleming and Jordan Stanley Payne, Carlos and Sal, like you said. Mike Handwrite with Investor Fuel. Those are some of the best masterminds out. Mark Evans DM as well. So thank you. Check those out. Those are some great masterminds. I think masterminds are huge for success. Obviously, with partnering with Jamie, we just started our own, and that's what I've been telling everybody in there about. I can go back and directly correlate some of our success to expanding to new markets. Almost all of the private money we've ever raised has been from masterminds. Yeah. Which sounds crazy, but I've told people, I'm like, well, the reason why is you've got people in a mastermind with people from all across the different levels of business. Yeah. And there are people in there that are like, hey, I've been in this game for 15, 20 years, and I no longer want to be the operator. Yeah. So it allows you to network with great people. So good question there. Jeremiah says, what books do you recommend for real estate and or business? I haven't read a lot of real estate books just because a lot of them, they're written like a specific time or a market, so it's kind of hard to like find certain things that work. But business-wise, I think Traction's a great book. Yes. I always recommend, especially if you want to scale your business, I'd read Traction. Obviously there's a couple of like mindset books like Think and Grow Rich, How to Win Friends and Influence People. It helps with the sales side. But yeah, understanding, I always recommend, like, hey, I mean, go get a sales job for a couple months or a year or something like that and learn how to actually physically do sales.
Yeah.
Because that's what's helped dramatically in my business, because I've I've owned a sales business for years, and it's literally just a business.
Right.
So
I think since we've talked a little bit about negotiations, never split the difference is a good one. I definitely second traction as far as building out systems, and really breaks down how the CEO is the visionary and the COO is the integrator and what that means. And let's talk about that for a second, because it sounds like, you know, with your divisions and you building out your team,
Yeah.
I mean, that's really impressive.
yeah.
Are you by yourself? How have you come up with the systems and the processes in your business, and do you have support in that regard?
Well, it's funny. It's because I actually posted this, like, CEOs, like LLC owners, entrepreneurs. I feel that's really saturated. Anybody could go to the county or the state and just buy an LLC, and then you post it on your Instagram like, oh, I'm now a CEO, right?
Right.
I mean, how much money are you making? You know, who have you helped in your business? Who have you put on? Who have you brought from something and made them better? You know, so I think it's a lot deeper than, hey, you're a CEO and you're all of a sudden entitled. So what I did yesterday, it's like, I want to structure it different in our company, where I now work in the company with everybody else, and it's not to a standpoint of pride or anything like that, because we're building something together. This is our company. And I actually moved my office from a private office to the sales floor so I can be in the trenches with those guys, you know? So I have different perspectives on that, just because I used to be a CFO at my own company that I owned, and I hired a CEO, and it worked amazing and great. But the problem with that is people are inspired by that, and when they're inspired by that, they just want to go do their own thing, and it makes it really difficult to retain people. So instead of working it like that, I want to be able to work within the company just like everybody else, so we can build something together versus something that's just mine.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Well, the other aspect of that is I'm sure there was a point in time where you actually wanted to do this business because you enjoy this business, right?
Yeah, for sure. I love real estate. I love business, and it's got to the point now where it's not just about money. I mean, I have made great money, and I have, like, excellent paychecks and stuff like that, but I mean, it gets to a point where you've bought everything you wanted, you've seen everything that you wanted. Now it's like, all right, what's next? Now my family's even taken care of. Now it's to a point where it's like, let's go out into the trenches and help somebody get out of a situation or make their life better. And then all of a sudden, because you're able to do that, people around them are better. And
Right.
It's going to grow to a point where it's like you're literally impacting the world. I mean, look at AT&T. It's one of the biggest companies in the world, and I mean, I know millionaires that work for AT&T, you know?
Right.
But everybody around them, their life is better, you know, just because of a company.
Absolutely.
So,
Well, you know, obviously I have a lot of different things to say about this. You know, tying back into the masterminds, there's a lot of time where I go to masterminds, and the constant conversation in the mastermind is how can I systemize my business so I can get out of it?
Yep.
And I'm like, and it gets to me, and I'm like the weird dude where I'm like, I don't necessarily want to be out of my business. Like, that's my baby. That's what I love. Like, I've built this to be a part of it and be proud of it. And yeah, of course I want freedom of time to go on vacations and stuff like that and enjoy my life.
Yeah.
But I don't want to stop working.
Yeah. And I take the same approach. It's like, how can I delete myself from an equation so I can do something other in the business, you know, and duplicate myself so I can make it better. And I'm motivated. It's like, hey, how can I leverage my time, not just to retire and stop working, so I can work more on
so I can do something else, like a nonprofit,
exactly,
or whatever, or expand in a new market. I mean, that's one of the greatest things that, you know, we've ever been able to do is expand to new markets and find new partners and create that financial freedom for other people as well, along with you and side by side, and create that, you know, army of people. I mean, that's why we're partnering with different people like Jamie, and you know, it's aligning the forces there and being able to do more together. It's so funny you bring up AT&T, because I think in one of my sales pitches to Jamie, where I was asking her to partner with us, I was like, it's kind of like when AT&T and Singular, like, remember everybody had the stupid little Singular cell phones, and I was like, AT&T bought it, and was like, oh shit,
now
there are no other cell phone companies.
Yeah,
and
it just became a whale. And
now you look at AT&T. So Ryan Harper asks, where did the gong come from?
Oh yeah, Amazon. So yeah, we have this gong in the office. Every time somebody gets a deal, we hit the gong. We all celebrate.
Is it a big one? I have not seen it.
It's pretty big. Yeah.
That's cool, man.
Yeah. Follow me on Instagram or Facebook. Oh yeah, you can pull it up.
Here we go.
There it is. Yep. So every time we get a deal, we hit this gong. So yeah.
Oh hell no! We're gonna partner on a deal. I'm gonna come in there. I'm gonna hit that thing.
Let's hit it.
I ain't gonna hit it like he did. I'm giving it a good one.
It's usually a big, massive celebration in the office because it takes a lot of work. Like, my guys work hard.
Right.
We work hard to get a deal, and there's a lot of money and there's a lot of individuals that's involved with the whole process to get a deal done. So we celebrate, every time that happens. So I think it's important.
It's like you just brought up. What did you spend last month on marketing?
About $140,000.
$140,000.
Yeah.
I mean, by God, when you go out and
I didn't get a call. I spent $100 on mailers.
Right. I mean, when you go out,
and
you get a deal, and then you get rid of it, and like you start, yes, that is something to celebrate.
For sure. Yeah.
And a lot of people in this business disrespect what wholesalers go through to get deals. I mean, what you are building is an actual legitimate business.
Yeah.
And you're feeding a ton of people.
Yeah.
And not only inside your business, but the vendors you're using as well.
Yeah.
I think our good buddy Sonia Ray just asked earlier, who are you using for PPC? I think that's important because obviously it's working for you. Mm-hmm. Do you mind sharing who you're using for that?
Yeah, you can just reach out to Carlos and Sal. They can help you.
Cool. Randy McFeely says, you don't build a business, you build people, people build the business.
Exactly, yeah. I mean, even on the construction side of rehabs, like, I took my carpet guy, and he only did carpet when I met him, and now he does a majority of a lot of miscellaneous things with the job, and he didn't even believe he could do it. I'm like, dude, like, it's carpentry. Like, you have the tools to do something more, and you just develop people. As long as you're developing people, you're always gonna see growth, especially if you bring value in return. But yeah, I mean, back to the buyers, for sure, it's like, I mean, me as a buyer, like, I used to only buy from wholesalers.
Right.
Like last year, I would probably average $100,000 that I was paying wholesalers to find deals by just doing rehabs. So I kind of looked at that. I was like, man, I could continue to buy from wholesalers, not come out of pocket because I use private money and stuff like that, or I could just find my own deals with the loan payment assignments. That's kind of why I don't have an issue of spending a lot of money on marketing. But yeah, I mean, I'm kind of like changing the whole dynamic of buyers coming in, buying our deals, because I understand where they're coming from. They want the best deal and they don't want to pay, like, whatever. But I literally invite them to the office. I'm like, hey man, come see the operation, come drop the earnest money off, and we can kind of show you what other deals that we have, so they can kind of see what's going on and what process that we see. So it's not like, hey, this is a hustle, like a hustler hustled a wholesale deal and it's going to hustle me. It's not like that. It's like a legitimate business that we bring legitimate value in on both angles, the seller and the buyer side. So it's even sellers, they come to the office, come check out our operation. This is a business, like, it's kind of like a corporate structure, and there's like a closing room with, I mean, like, they're our clients, we need them just as much as they need us. So,
I love that, man.
Yeah.
And we, in the newer markets that we go to, we buy quite a bit of our deals from wholesalers. Mm-hmm. I've yet to see when we buy multiple deals from a wholesaler where it just ends at that, where we're the cash buyer and they're the wholesaler.
Yeah.
There's so much opportunity to do more together. Mm-hmm. Shout out to my buddy Colby K in Phoenix. We bought some deals from him. He's also found ways to bring us lenders so we could close on different deals. Mm-hmm. Now we have deals that we've gotten under contract or we own that we want to dispose of. So he's going to do dispositions for us. Next thing you know, it's like he's got a great deal in Louisiana right now, a mobile home park that he's looking to get rid of. He's reaching out to us and Corey Thompson. I mean, there's just, when you have that abundance mindset,
for sure.
I mean, it's like the relationships start to flourish. Yeah. And then it's like, are we partners No, but we're partnering on different ways to make money together.
Yeah.
And there's so much power in doing that.
Yeah.
And so, yes, you're absolutely right. When you wholesale a property and you bring in that cash buyer to your operation and let them see all that, yeah, it's way different than just signing an assignment contract and giving you a $5,000 cashier's check.
Exactly.
They're seeing, hey, there's something to grow here. I can get excited about this.
Yeah.
Donovan, this is what I want. These are the types of deals I want.
Yeah, we get their criteria, and hey, what's your criteria? We get criteria from everybody, and then we literally dedicate, if they hand us a check, I'm like, hey, you're doing business with us now. We're gonna literally reinvest this back into the system where you want to buy, so we can help you get more deals.
Right.
So develop those relationships with your cash buyers, because that's super important. As markets change, you can't just fire sell stuff just because you have it.
Right.
You have to kind of build it off of your client base, what people want right now.
So your fellow Titanium Tuesday previous guest, Greg Shine, says he's totally ordering a gong today, but I'm going to keep it around the house and use it every time I actually wash dishes, fold clothes, etc.
Yeah.
That is awesome.
That's funny.
By the way, I'm stealing Greg Shine's wardrobe. I love his wardrobe more than anything. And he stole the whole Steve Jobs, Mark Zuckerberg theory of he wears the same thing every day. And so I love it.
I actually got accustomed to that, man. It's normally I wear a t-shirt and jeans. I don't have to think about what I wear, so I have a lot of things to think about. I don't want to wake up with a problem what am I going to wear today? I already know what I'm going to wear today. It's jeans and a t-shirt.
I think this is
other problems to solve.
These are all entrepreneur little idiosyncrasies that we come up with where all of a sudden it's I wasted 3.5 minutes today wondering what I was going to wear.
Yeah.
Must cut that from my life.
Yeah.
So Jamie says $140,000 on marketing. What is your return and gross profit for this? Must know.
It's about 36%. So yeah, I guess you can kind of do the math.
Yeah, you can do the math, Jamie. If not, you can text me after the show and I'll do the math for you, partner.
Yeah. What takes the
Jeremiah,
biggest
where
chunk?
does the 140K go to? What takes the biggest chunk? I'm sure PPC is a lot of that, right?
Well, I think we pay our team commissions,
Right.
I think that's where a majority of it goes. But we spend a lot on data within itself, because we buy entire counties. We buy millions of records at a time. Skip tracing it, filtering it, and stuff like that, and then filtering it through the VAs. It's kind of expensive.
So real quick before we jump off, you have another company outside of real estate investing.
I actually shut it down. Yeah.
You shut it down.
Yeah, I did own I had $2 million companies, was fine and dandy, it was a cool experience because I've learned a lot from both, but I kind of grew to the point where it's I felt not only did I have 2 roles and 2 jobs, but I was giving my people 50% on both sides. And I kind of came to an understanding where I wanted to just give everybody 100%. So I just kind of made the decision to just go all real estate, and kind of took some of my top guys from my sales company and brought them over to the acquisition side, and now we focus only on real estate.
It's crazy, man.
Yeah.
That takes a lot of guts to shut down a 7-figure business.
Yeah, it's super humbling, and I learned a lot from that, and our clients treated us really well. But I think for the better of my people, I think it's what made sense. Because I want to, it's not about money anymore.
Right.
It's not about growing a super successful company. It's about the people. It's about my people. So
it's awesome, man. So for everybody that's watching, if they want to do business with you, what's the best way they can reach out to you and do business with you?
Yeah, so you can reach me on Facebook, Instagram. I'm sure you guys will tag it, and my email. You can email me. I don't really give out my phone number that much anymore, just because I get a lot of phone calls and I have a lot of responsibilities. But most definitely you can email me, Donovan@equitycashoffer.com. Find me on Facebook, Donovan Ruffin, Instagram, the Donovan Ruffin. Instagram is probably the easiest way, just because I'm always on there. I'm always distracted, right? But I get a lot of inspiration from Instagram, I see celebrities and other people doing certain things, and I'm it's if that person can do it, so can I, you know? So I like Instagram. So
you're gonna have your dispositions guys drop those deals you got under contract in the comments?
Yeah, Quinn.
Let's make a deal. Let's make a deal go down on Titanium Tuesdays.
Dude, we have just between Dallas and Fort Fort Worth, like deals ready to go. We have about 20 deals.
Let's do it.
Like we have
Let's get
like
some- let's
43
get some deals
deals.
sold.
We're just waiting for pictures and titles to clear. So we're picking up a lot of deals. We're selling them like 75, 76% right now. So we have a lot of inventory. So you can come shop with us.
It's cool. I'll expect my 3% commission.
It's only 3%.
That's what you said. Dispositions.
Oh
right?
yeah, I pay
Expect my
3%.
3%. No, I'm just
I'll
playing.
pay 3%.
All right, guys. So I'm RJ Bates, Titanium Investments. Same thing. You can find me on Facebook, and also I don't do this good enough on here. We buy houses. We also sell houses as well. So please reach out to me. And then also, guys, shout out and love for Propelio. Without them, none of this is possible. Definitely use them for MLS comps. We, both Titanium Investments and Donovan's company, we use them for our comps.
Yep.
But they also have lead lists. They also have websites and all kind of other things through their subscription. So check them out at propelio.com. And then also, please subscribe and turn the notifications on Facebook. Subscribe on YouTube. And check out the other shows. We got Grant Teach Me Something tomorrow. Then we got the Iron Heel show on Thursday. And then we have Quest on Friday. Great information there. Each one of these shows brings a little bit different taste and flavor to it, but all great content. So thank you guys for watching. And are we still doing shows next week, or when are we taking out for Christmas?
Yeah.
So next week will be our last week before the Christmas break. So we got one more week for you guys, so we'll see y'all next Tuesday, okay?